Plex Media Server Setup Guide. Plex is a strong service that allows you to stream your media library to a number of units and share that content material with family and friends. In case you're that fortunate pal, all you want is an invite to another person's Plex server. However, if you happen to are the one working the present, you will have to do some extra setup. Earlier than you began, take note what working a Plex server entails. You may be accountable for ensuring the machine you are working it from has respectable processing energy, a lot of storage, and stays on and related to the web always, which could rule out utilizing a laptop computer. That web connection also needs to have sturdy ad speeds. Choose the hardware you need to run on. Some folks select to make use of a devoted network attached storage (NAS) machine to host their Plex server. However, you may as well use a daily desktop laptop, so long as it stays on and related to the web always. On this information, we'll run via the desktop model for instance, however we'll briefly focus on the advantages of every. NAS units provide flexibility. They arrive with slots for laborious drives, permitting you so as to add extra reminiscence or swap out for bigger drives. Storing media is a fast technique to refill cupboard space, so that is useful if you wish to add extra to your library without deleting issues. Some additionally include options that make streaming higher, like 4K video acceleration. The drawback is that if you happen to already personal a strong desktop, a NAS machine turns into yet another factor to purchase and handle. A desktop PC is an efficient choice if you happen to or comfy upgrading it if wanted. If you have already got a PC with an honest processor, loads of cupboard space, and a strong web connection, then having your individual Plex server is only obtain away. Sadly, this additionally signifies that streaming content material may have an effect on how different computing duties carry out. It might not seem to be a giant deal, however the first time your sport begins lagging as a result of a pal began watching your 4K copy of Avengers Endgame, that NAS choice may develop into slightly extra interesting. Personally, I take advantage of a desktop and have not had any main points, however it all comes all the way down to your wants, checking account, and the way a lot work you need to put into constructing your individual. Set up the Plex Media. As soon as you've got picked which hardware you are going to use, obtain the Plex Media Server application. If you have not created an account now's a great time to take action. You may see a drop-down menu with an inventory of platforms you possibly can select from, together with home Windows, Mac, Linux, and a number of NAS platforms. Choose the one which is best for you and obtain it to your machine and run via the setup wizard to put in it. Now comes the tough half. As soon as you put in the server, there will not be an app working in your system that you should use to work together with it. As a substitute, you will be coping with the Plex Web App, a browser-based entrance finish for the server that additionally doubles as a media participant. Virtually every little thing you would need to do with Plex might be performed right here, from managing customers and organizing a server, to watching your films or exhibits from any laptop with a web connection. The primary time you open the Plex Internet app, although, you will be requested to signal into the account you created earlier. After that, you possibly can create your libraries. These are top-level collections of media, like films, TV reveals, or music, which you could browse. You'll be able to create as many libraries as you need, however typically you solely want one for every media kind. Nonetheless, if in case you have a set of flicks you like to not share, you would create one other library referred to as, say, non-public films, and hold that separate from every little thing else. Extra importantly, you possibly can select which libraries you share with others, a useful technique to isolate your extra embarrassing responsible pleasures. Set up your libraries. The subsequent step right here relies upon slightly bit on how you've got organized your media, so we're breaking it out into its personal step. When you select which form of library you need to arrange, films, for instance, you will be requested so as to add folders to it. You'll be able to have media from a number of totally different folders or drives in a single media library, which makes organizing rather a lot easier for watching. When you've got film information unfold throughout 3 separate laborious drives, you possibly can add every drive to your film's library and nobody would be the wiser. Click on the Browse for Media folder button and search till you discover the folder you are on the lookout for. Plex will search in any subfolders inside the folder you choose, so you may make one huge films listing and create particular person folders for every film inside it to maintain every little thing good and neat. Learn extra about tips on how to correctly name and organize your folders here. As soon as you've got added all of your folders to a library, click on the Superior tab. Right here, you possibly can tweak a couple of settings in your Plex server, like turning off cinema trailers that play earlier than your film, or whether or not your library ought to embrace video thumbnails. Most of those settings, like which online library Plex pulls metadata from, are fantastic. The best way there, however, it's value a fast look to verify every little thing is the way you prefer it. The primary time you arrange your Plex library, it'd take a bit for the server to determine your entire media, discover and obtain metadata like descriptions and posters, and make them obtainable to observe. When you've got a big library, chances are you'll need to give yourself time to seize a sandwich earlier than you sit down to observe your first film with Plex. Set up a Plex app on your favorite units. Lastly, you've got received your Plex library arrange. It is remarkably easy, and you may most likely spend extra effort and time getting the media you need to watch than organizing your Plex server. Nonetheless, if you wish to watch your media on something aside from the Plex Internet app, you will need to set up a consumer software in your cell phone, TV, or some other machine with a display. You'll be able to often discover Plex in no matter app retailer your machine has. However, if you happen to are struggling, signal into your Plex account on any of those apps and your entire libraries needs to be proper. They're ready for you. You too can invite different customers to your libraries to allow them to share in your curated movie assortment. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe. Don't forget to share.